Throughout history, the methods used by spies and the tools they employed for espionage have always fascinated ordinary people. In modern history, the peak of espionage activity dates back to World War II and later to the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union. One of the most critical tasks assigned to spies was gathering information, and for this purpose, spies needed devices that could secretly listen in. For example, this dragonfly-like device, developed by the CIA in 1970, looks exactly like a real dragonfly. CIA agents could easily send this dragonfly wherever they wanted and effectively capture ambient sounds. Another example is the shoes developed by the KGB, which had eavesdropping devices hidden in their heels. Agents could activate the device by pulling a trigger on the side of the heel, allowing them to transmit conversations of those around them to headquarters. In some missions, it was necessary for spies to listen to their base or receive instructions remotely. So what did they do? This image shows a pipe equipped with a radio receiver, one of the best options for such tasks. A small radio receiver was placed inside the pipe, and when someone put the pipe in their mouth, the sound traveled through their jawbone to their ear. This pipe was so precise that even if someone sat right next to the spy, they wouldn't be able to hear the sound. Of course, not all spies had it so easy when transmitting information. Sometimes they had to resort to other methods. Writing letters wasn't safe because letters could be secretly intercepted and inspected. Intelligence agencies, without opening the envelope conventionally, used special tools to extract, read, and then reseal the letters. Spies came up with alternative ways to send their messages. They encrypted the text they needed to send to their organization and stored these codes on microfilm or paper, which they then concealed in coins before delivering them to the intended recipient. Transporting these coins was relatively easy. However, women spies had even more creative methods for transferring data. They would etch their codes onto small mirrors hidden inside their makeup compacts or blush cases in a way that made the codes visible only from specific angles. A skilled female spy could pretend to be applying makeup, quickly glance at the mirror to read the code, and then put the compact away. Another interesting gadget commonly used by KGB women spies was a lipstick that, at first glance, appeared to be an ordinary cosmetic product. However, it could transform into a lethal weapon capable of firing a 4.5mm bullet. Naturally, men couldn't carry such lipsticks with them. Instead, they preferred using glove guns. These firearms, used by both the CIA and the KGB, were built into gloves for discreet operation. There were also many other similar tools. For example, there was a toothpaste tube containing a single-shot .22 caliber firearm. But none of these tools matched the infamous Bulgarian umbrella. This umbrella wasn't just designed for rainy days. It was a covert weapon capable of firing a bullet coated with poison. The user could discreetly shoot the bullet at their target, who would feel a sting similar to an insect bite. However, the victim wouldn't know that this sting was fatal. The most famous case involving the Bulgarian umbrella was the assassination of the renowned Bulgarian writer and critic Georgy Markov in 1978. At the time, Georgy was at a bus stop when a spy carrying an umbrella passed by and lightly tapped his thigh. Though the contact wasn't forceful and appeared accidental, Georgy felt a sharp sting in his thigh. 4 days later, he passed away in a London hospital. Later, documents were revealed showing that Bulgaria's former leader had spent $50,000 to eliminate Markov and other Bulgarian communist officials. In short, This umbrella is one of the most infamous espionage tools in the world. Now, let's talk about the explosive chocolate. This story dates back to World War II, when the Axis powers were attempting to assassinate Churchill and the Allies were trying to kill Hitler. Both sides employed every kind of innovation to achieve their goals. At that time, the Germans created a deadly chocolate intended for Churchill. This explosive device, disguised as a chocolate bar, was meant to be smuggled into the British war cabinet with the hope that its detonation would kill Churchill. However, this plan was thwarted by British spies, and the deadly chocolate never even came close to Churchill. The CIA also made multiple attempts to assassinate Fidel Castro using poisoned cigars, but none of these attempts succeeded. Beyond these tools, spies also utilized animals for their missions. Since Roman times, pigeons were used to carry letters. Later, during World War I, instead of letters, small cameras were attached to pigeons to capture photographs of enemy locations. The British even equipped pigeons with bombs and biological weapons, sending them toward enemy targets. But it wasn't just pigeons that fell victim to intelligence organizations. During the Cold War, the CIA used cats for espionage. These cats, called acoustic cats, had radio receivers, microphones, and antennas implanted in their bodies. They were sent near suspected individuals to record their conversations. Unfortunately, many of these cats were hit by cars or disobeyed commands, making the project a failure. Aside from cats, the CIA also experimented with bats and explosive mice. For instance, during World War II, the CIA allocated significant funding for bats equipped with timed bombs. The plan was to place these bats, each carrying a bomb, into canister-like containers and drop them over cities like regular bombs. Once the canisters landed using parachutes, the bats would be released, scattering throughout the city and detonating buildings. However, this project turned out to be a disaster during testing, as the bats caused damage to American bases and resulted in significant losses. Eventually, the CIA abandoned the idea altogether. Finally, let's talk about how games were used as espionage tools. During World War II, Nazi prisoners were allowed to receive games from the Red Cross to keep them entertained in captivity. This led the Allies, Hitler's enemies, to design special Monopoly boards. Hidden within the game boards were escape tools and maps for the prisoners. Some of the game pieces were crafted to double as tools, and even real money was mixed with the Monopoly currency. They also created playing cards that, when soaked in water, revealed escape maps. Some tools from that era, which seem ordinary to us now, were quite advanced for their time. So much so that no one could have predicted their existence. For example, this robotic fish, designed to collect underwater samples, was created by the CIA. The robot could operate without detection, gathering water samples to check for chemical contamination. There were also miniature cameras developed by the CIA. These cameras were small enough to fit inside a cigarette pack at a time when regular cameras were large and bulky. Spies used these cameras to take covert photographs of classified documents and sensitive files. In summary, spies have utilized every conceivable tool for espionage. With advancements in technology, these tools have become increasingly strange and sophisticated, evolving to the point where virtually any object today could serve as a spy device.